Yep, we cutting the bullshit today, and here we go. So, because I am so over these conversations, these toxic conversations that we're having, that we're allowing to be had, that are truly meant to put the nail in a coffin when it comes to ending romantic love between a heterosexual black man and black woman. We're putting an end to that bullshit today. I'm slashing through the illusions. First off, this part, because I can't just do this all in one video. That ain't gonna happen. This part is kind of specifically for the black men and this modern simp culture that's going on, where we have men who encourage and celebrate this culture now where men are afraid to emotionally invest into women. And I totally get it, because you have black women on these social media platforms in particular, who are bashing and saying just outrageous things about black men and not truly giving perspective or holding weight for the things that they have experienced and gone through, not getting any reverence to that. And we're going to stop that shit too. So going back, let's just rewind, because I've already mentioned before how in the 1960s, over 60% of our households were married and financially stable. Black households. And now today in 2025, over 75% of our homes are led by single black women or single black mothers. That's not a coincidence. We've been targeted. This is why our families have been destabilized. But I'm hearing this toxic conversation around black women were the ones who put the man out of the home. We chose the system over the man. First of all, let's go back to biology 101 and psychology 101, because we need to be on the same page with factual information so that we can move forward from this madness, this craziness, because that's exactly what it is. We slashing through the illusions today. Biologically, a woman seeks to take care of the children and of herself. That is what she's biologically and psychologically geared for. I'm not saying that she is not in a position to take care of a man in a way that in a heterosexual relationship or union, I'm not saying that she can't nurture a man. She can't help build him up through her feminine essence, her feminine magic. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is her priorities are taking care of the children and of herself. The ones who implemented these welfare programs to help support families, they know this. They know the biological makeup and the psychological makeup of a woman and of a man. Which is why this was a plan all along, way before we saw it coming. The system intentionally created incentives to get the man out of the home, because they knew that they could scare the woman into thinking, oh my goodness, the family is at risk. The children need to be tended to. The children have to be taken care of. Those are her thoughts. Those are her fears. So of course, she's choosing the children over the man. They knew that. This is why they created the incentives to get the man out of the home. We also forget context. We had a lot of men, black men, who were discriminated against during those times. I'm thinking the late 60s, the 70s. A lot of them were losing unionized jobs that kept our homes stable. This was all done on purpose. Black men were losing their jobs, their economic standpoint where they were financially strong and able to take care of their families. They were losing that. And let's not mention how black men were sent to prisons in droves at that time by discriminative practices. A lot of our men were also getting hooked on narcotics, dealing with mental illnesses from the war, PTSD, narcotics that were flooded into our neighborhoods by other people other than us, another target. We had so many targets placed on us. And y'all got the nerve to come online and say that it was the black woman who took the black man out of the home? You're not even honoring who she is biologically and psychologically. Excuse me for tripping over my words. But honor her as a woman, as a mother. She tried to save the babies in this attack on the black family. And now, let me actually go back to this. Women seek love and men seek respect. Excuse me. Let me say that again. Women seek love and men seek respect. If a man feels like he is not capable of taking care of his family in the way that he knows he should because he is the breadwinner, he is the head of household, naturally, biologically, this is the way God, source, universe created it to be. If he know he cannot take care of his business as a man, he would rather leave the home. And that's exactly what happened. So once the man was out of the home, there's a lack of structure there in the home. And not only that, they encouraged employment rather than family structure through these welfare programs. So now you have a woman who's biologically meant to be at home with the children, to nurture the children. Now she's going out to work, which is further destabilizing the family. This is how they were able to take us apart from each other, because now you have the system after the black man, putting him in jail. And now you have the state after the woman, because she's now overworked. She's stressed out because, again, biologically, women are not necessarily meant to do work like a man. We're not designed that way. We work off a 28-day cycle according to the moon. Our energy fluctuates. It goes up and down. Our hormones fluctuate all over the place. This is not ideal for being in a leadership position because you have to be level-headed. There are times during the month we literally lose it because we're losing blood. Blood is life force. If you're losing blood, how are you able to operate fully 100% in your mind? Now, I'm not saying that there's not an exception to the rule, because there are women who are meant to be leaders. But that's a rarity. That's not for the majority of women, because that's not the way that we're biologically designed. So they created all of these issues around the home to destabilize our families. And this ultimately affects our children, which ultimately affects our community, which affects our union or lack thereof. Let me go back to the men, because we need to stop putting out this energy of the black woman put the man out of the home. That is not true. Put that energy where it deserves to go. It was these programs that were invented, that were created. The WIC, the SNAP benefits, the housing assistance, all of these social welfare programs that were put into place that took the black man out of the home. Because what we're not going to do is make it seem like there's something inherently wrong with black women, or that there's something inherently wrong with black men. There isn't anything wrong with us. You know how I know that? Because again, we were the most married nation in this country in the 1960s without anybody, excuse my language, fucking with us. We were just fine. Wasn't nothing wrong with us then. Wasn't nothing wrong with us in the 1920s when we was rocking our minks, when we were millionaires, when we owned our own banks. Wasn't nothing wrong with us then. So how the hell all of a sudden something wrong with us today? You tell me that. Give me, explain, break that logic down to me, because I'm not grasping it. You know why? Because that's a bunch of crock of bullshit. Ain't nothing wrong with us. We've been targeted. Our families have been destabilized on purpose by way of breaking up our heterosexual union. The reason why God put us together, man and woman, because I used to always just think of this in my head, like, God, why did you put us together? We're so different. Like, it's so challenging to get along as men and women because we literally speak different languages. I mean, we could be speaking the same language like English, but in terms of our genetic or biological makeup, we're speaking completely different languages. Again, women seek love. And men seek respect. We're completely wired differently. This is why I say we're going to stop with the BS of even starting off a conversation or an argument comparing men and women, because you're not creating a solid premise or framework for an argument. Your argument or your debate or whatever you're trying to say or purport is completely invalid if you're starting off comparing apples and oranges. You can't have a scientific experiment without a control there. The control is the factor that stays the same so that you can actually measure your results up against that factor that didn't change. Because otherwise, if you're using data that doesn't have a solid framework or baseline, your findings are completely invalid. You cannot compare oranges and apples and think that you're making a solid argument, because you're not. The reason why God, universe, source, whomever, the Most High, whomever, the reason why Source put us together is because we are so different. And our union, us coming together, forces us to grow, because you have to lay down something within yourself. Be humble enough to learn the difference of your partner. Learn your differences and grow from them. Contrast opens up the door for growth. We're supposed to come together to understand and learn our differences and use that as a mechanism to grow. This is why heterosexual romantic unions are so important. Literally, us being together, the black man and the black woman, us being together in union creates growth. It creates an opportunity to be fruitful and multiply. This is why they don't want us together. And I totally get why black men are upset and angry. But we need to address that. We actually need to acknowledge the fact that black men are angry. Because I'm just going to be real with you. I see it day in and day out. Let me give you an example. I'm a survivor of domestic violence a couple of times at the hands of a black man. I've only dated black men in my life. And I've seen countless other black women be at the hands or be at the mercy of a domestic violence situation. I'm not the only one. The numbers are crazy high when it comes to domestic violence in the home or in the black male-female relationship. It's out of control. I don't want to lose my train of thought here. But we need to recognize and acknowledge the fact that black men are angry. And a big part of the reason why black men are angry is because the emotional investment they feel that they have to make within a heterosexual union with a black woman, they feel like there's no reward for that. When they invest themselves emotionally, there's no reward for that. And that's where this modern day simp culture is coming from. There's a fear of emotionally investing oneself into a woman because they feel like there's no payoff for it. And I totally get that. And I agree in some ways. Absolutely. Because on the other end, they're creating the stereotype, or not necessarily stereotype. They're manufacturing this identity of the woman who is totally not feeling black men. Let me just say that for the lack of a better word or phrase, right? So this bashing is on both ends. So you can't sit up here and say that it's just black men doing it or it's just black women. It's both of us on each side. And what we need to stop doing is pointing the finger at who's doing, all of this bashing just to highlight who's doing it and actually come from a different perspective and understand why it's being done. And this is what I'm trying to dissect here. Because the men are upset because their emotional investment into a heterosexual relationship with women is not a huge payoff for them. And that needs to change. Let me gather my thoughts here. Another thing, it's not that our black men don't care about the household as fathers, particularly, black men being fathers to their children and leaving the household because, of course, we have alarming numbers of absent fathers in the home. I, just said over 75% of our homes are led by single black women or single black mothers. This is because of the system that constantly takes him out of the home on purpose. But we're not addressing these things. We're not talking about these things. There's not enough safe space for black men to actually open up and talk about the shit that pisses them off. And we absolutely need these spaces because if we don't acknowledge and identify the problem, we can't fix it. And I'm saying that black men are angry. Going back, and I forgot to mention my example. I do apologize. I'm very passionate about this topic. And again, I'm praying that we get it together. Me personally, as a black woman, for instance, and I can't stand to say this, it truly hurts. I see it every day almost. Like, if I get an Uber and I get a black male driver, I know, and especially if I'm grocery shopping, if I get my hands are full, or if I'm with my boys and I obviously need help, or if I'm on the opposite side of the street and all the Uber driver has to do is just do a U-turn to come close to me and, pick me up. If I get a black male driver, he ain't gonna do none of that shit for me. None of it. Any other man, a white man, Mexican, I don't care. As not Africans, because Africans do the same thing. Any other man of any other so-called race, we're going to talk about race another day. This false concept of race that keeps us all in a race. I just know if I get a black male Uber driver, he's not going to help me with my grocery bags. He's not going to do that U-turn to come pick me up and make it easier to pick me up. He's not going to help me with my boys. He's not going to do anything. Not on top of not helping me do anything, he going to have an attitude with me. It happens time and time again. And it always sucks. I hate it. But then when I get another man, like a white man, someone foreign, anybody who's non-black, they open the doors for me. They help me with my bags. I even had one white man one time. He almost got upset with me because I was about to open up my door. He was like, let me get that. You got 2 babies with you. Give me them bags. Give me that stroller. Give it here. Like instantly taking care of me, not afraid to show me love because he instinctively knows that I'm a woman. Let me go back to that. Our instincts. It is instincts for a man to want to impress a woman. This is a part of the mating process. Go look in nature. I'm thinking of the peacock, the male peacock. He shows all his colors off. He does a dance for the female because he's trying to mate. Now you have this modern day simp culture out where men are afraid to mate, basically. They're afraid to make compliments about women. They're afraid to adore women. They're afraid to impress women because there's no payoff for it in their minds. And there needs to be a conversation held around that so that we can address that. Because I've been talking about leaning into pain. You can't keep running away from pain and problems and trauma. It's always there. It's like an invisible book bag that you're constantly wearing. You make every decision and every choice from this trauma until you face it and find the golden treasure that lies within that pain. We need more safe spaces for Black men to speak and let their hair down and talk about the shit that's on their chest. Because what we're not going to do is we're not going to continue to play on this stage and be the clowns that they want us to be. Because that's all it is. We're on stage for the whole world to point their fingers at us. Look at these people. Look at how they operate. They're not even operating off of their natural instincts. Look at how their men just openly sexually exploit their women. Look at how the women sit up here and bash the men, not even taking into consideration the countless targets from every angle on the Black man, the background of what happened to the Black man, not taking any of that into account, but we bash them constantly. And then we have this whole new movement of high value women and high value men, right? Where we're expecting Black men to make all this money when the system intentionally is taking that away from him. I'm trying to understand. We have got to stop letting others play in our face. We have got to stop it. We need radical love introduced into our spaces. Radical love, radical self-love, radical loving on each other. Because God damn it, at the end of the day, we're human. We want to be loved. We want to love. You have so much capacity to love. It ain't shit wrong with that. It ain't nothing wrong with trying to impress a woman. That's what you're biologically geared to do. They have taken us apart so much to the point where we are programmed to override our instincts. That's just like a male lion not wanting to mate with a lioness. Can you imagine that? Like, huh? Well, who he gonna mate with? And how they gonna create babies? And how are those babies gonna be healthy enough to grow into what they're supposed to grow into if they don't know how to mate or get along with each other? Do y'all catching? You picking up what I'm putting down? Stop making it seem like there's something inherently wrong with black people. There ain't shit wrong with us. Not a damn thing. In fact, we are greatness. We can get through this. We just have to see the bullshit for what it is and stop fighting each other and face the shit that's within you. Whatever you're angry about. I'm talking specifically to the black man right now. Whatever you're angry about, because you're a man. You're meant to be strong. You are strong. And you also deserve space where you can be vulnerable. I'm not going to use the word weak. You deserve space where you can be vulnerable, authentic, so that you can truly explore the ways in which you can find your joy and find your peace, so that you can openly love and not be ashamed or guilty or resentful for giving love to your woman, because that's what you're supposed to be doing. Not bashing her and telling her. I just had someone online tell me, no, don't nobody like y'all no more. Y'all got attitudes. And then they specifically put all of these black women into financially stable positions where black women are going to school and getting PhDs and master degrees and all of this stuff. They purposely did that because that actually belongs to the man. He needs that in order to take care of the home. That's why our kids are out of control. I said it. And going back, I missed this part as well. Let me go back to this. Part of the reason why men don't feel that their emotional investment is worth it is because a lot of women, like the bad boy instead of the good guy. Let me explain that. Because a lot of men, black men, want to bash black women for being fatherless daughters. Obviously, we don't understand that psychology either. Do you know the reason why black little girls need their fathers? Because a little girl needs to be validated. Let me get up close on the camera on this one. A little girl needs to be validated for being her without being validated for what's in between her legs. That's why we need the love of our fathers. It is the father that validates a girl's womanhood. It is the father that shows her male affection without wanting to get in between her legs. And she absolutely needs that. Because if she doesn't get it, she's going to be craving the wrong attention, probably for the rest of her life. This is psychology. This is science. This is neuroscience. This is how the brain works. Not all of these narratives that y'all creating out here because you're angry. We talking real shit tonight. We have plenty of fatherless daughters. Black women who have been raped, molested as children by the black men in our families. Oh, let's not talk about that. And let's really not talk about the black boys who've been violated. Oh, that's a whole nother conversation we ain't fucking talking about enough. Another reason why a lot of black men feel ashamed to even talk about what's really on their hearts. But going back to the fatherless daughters, absolutely need a man to validate you without validating what's in between your legs. This is how women learn what a good man is. Well, a lot of us didn't know. A lot of us didn't learn what a good man was because our fathers weren't in the home. Or we had fathers that didn't validate our womanhood. Probably violated it. You have to take that into consideration. We both have extreme problems of trauma on both ends with black women and black men. We both need healing. Instead of doing this bashing match online in front of the whole goddamn public to see. Making fools out of ourselves. When you grow up in an environment that's not stable emotionally, that's not stable as far as having the two parents in the home, because God does everything with purpose, with divine purpose. There's a reason why we all have a mother and a father. And we need both. We're going to stop this comparison also of who's better. That shit is ridiculous. There is no better. There is no equal. Obviously, we're not equal. A vagina is not the same as a penis. Am I right or am I absolutely right? I don't know. You tell me. Because I'm trying to see why we keep doing these comparison match. Oh, men are better than women. Women are better than men when we're completely fucking different. How apple better than an orange? Unless it's by preference. But we're not talking about preference. We're talking about real shit here. There are so many issues that we need to address and create safe space for so that we can actually move forward and go back to the place where we are naturally ourselves, the loving beings that we are. Do you know how fucking loving we are? Look at all the damn music that we made. All the love music we made. You know how many babies black people made just by music alone? And we want to sit up here and act like we heathens now? Something's wrong with the black woman. Something's wrong with the black man. Ain't shit wrong with us. Motherfuckers just won't leave us the hell alone. That's the problem. And what's also the problem, like I said before, we need to start protecting what we build. You can't build anything without fortifying it, without protecting it. Because someone could just come and just take your shit and ruin it, which is exactly what they're trying to do with our heterosexual unions. They trying to put the nail in the coffin now with this modern day simp culture where you have men who are bashing other men who are taking accountability, who are emotionally mature, who are man enough to speak the truth, but they're being bashed, who are courageous enough to even love on black women now. They're being bashed. Yeah, we gonna stop that shit today. You're not about to be online bashing other black men for loving on black women. That's craziness. We not doing that shit no motherfucking more. Excuse my language, but it needs to be said. I'm going to end this conversation here. It's definitely not the last conversation on this. I'm inclined to say Spirit is also calling me to say or to put out there that I offer safe space if you are interested. Because again, I am passionate about this. And I do want us to get it together. I offer very accurate readings on your life, on your blueprint, on your life purpose. Whatever you may be going through, I am also a medium. So I offer intuitive readings along with that blueprint reading, whatever you need. And right now, my readings are donation based. I will be offering freebies as well. Very soon, I'll be putting that information up. But I'm offering the space. I'm offering the safe space. I just need you to be courageous enough to acknowledge that you're angry and that you need help and actually want the help and want to be better, because the world needs you. The world needs you to be healthy. The world needs you to be the greatness that you are. So hit me up. We'll have this conversation later. There's more to this. I can't just do this in one video. All right. Y'all have a wonderful evening. Please like the post, comment, share, because this is a much needed conversation. I need to expand this conversation. This is not just about me. I'm not on here just for me. Trust and believe that. We got to get it together. All right. Have a beautiful evening, beautiful people. Y'all shine. Shine on. Shiner Oaks.